Pluto is the sixth planet in the original version of the game. Surprisingly, despite its small size, Pluto is the largest and most diverse planet. Although its distribution varies from planet to planet, it is still similar to the other planets. There's a violin song on this album. It's a bit dark at the beginning though. Maybe isolated would be a better word. It's dark and sad to listen to. I don't want to listen to that kind of music before I go to sleep. Surprisingly, none of the 8 previous worlds were included. Instead, 8 new ones were discovered. The 10 most popular images today feature Megalodon, Batra, and Mechagodzilla. After switching to question and answer mode, I went back to doing the spectacles as I usually do, but then I noticed something strange. Cypher was playing the song, not Ghidorah. The last change in the sentence seems appropriate because the question section addresses the most important points after the first 2 questions. Free evaluation. Do you like ice cream? Answer yes. Do you like funny people? Answer people who look like comedians. Can't wait for the holidays? Yes, the answer is roller blinds. Have you ever felt pain from anything? Answer, ever. It hurts me. Does anyone have to die? Answer, no. Is it safe to go out at night? Answer, different types of clothing. Do you have trouble sleeping at night? Answer, you have a beautiful face, number 9. Have you ever killed anyone? Answer, personal information 7. Did you intend to kill anyone? Answer, no. Has anyone done this? Answer, no. Is there something deeper than the meaning of life? The answer is no, love is the answer. Do you like the taste of moth? Answer, no, especially not the taste of something foreign. I know the last question is about the game, but I'm not sure what happened. I'll be honest, because as I said before, I don't like Matera. No one wants to use Path in this game, and that's okay. When he attacks, he disappears to the left side of the screen and his attack power is weak. The only advantage he has is that he can sometimes jump over obstacles. When I answered I can't, the Federal Reserve surprised me, but they understood too. I love watching them, and I feel like I have to take care of them. I reappeared on the map, and to my surprise, Godzilla and Angarosa had vanished, leaving only Gamata. I stared at him in disbelief. Of course, I was furious, but I couldn't help it. If I'd had the choice then, I would have undoubtedly chosen Gamata, and so it was. I took a deep breath and prepared to continue. The diagram showed 2 paths, and I chose the one below. I'll explain later, but it was the right decision. The first world I saw was a desert, and it all started there. I had a strange feeling from the beginning. This time it was even stranger than the last time. Maybe it was the darkness behind me. I was afraid to be in the woods at night. I felt hopeless and helpless about it. There's no point in taking me to another world. The knowledge I gained from controlling Godzilla in my past life has given me the courage to face any challenge. If I can control the enemy king, I can handle anything. But Mothra was different. I had no strength or courage, and I was weak and helpless, lost in an unfamiliar place. I went back on stage. The music was guitar, drums, and a new kind of brass instrument. I felt like I was in danger everywhere. Soon I met my first enemy in the field, or at least the enemy I thought I would meet. They were strange creatures with long, slender legs like deer's feet. They did not fight but walked aimlessly. I touched them, but they fled. I wanted to burn it and see what would happen, but I knew it wasn't a good idea. These animals aren't dangerous, so I left it and kept playing. At that time, we discovered a similar group of animals, including 2 new species. One was a lizard-like creature that could climb trees, the other was a winged bird of prey. Watching animals interact with each other is a beautiful experience. Without video games, it feels like walking through an unknown forest. If you get too close or attack, the enemy will try to defend itself. I shot at a bear-like creature. I grabbed its arm, but it easily jumped away and ran away. So I hesitated for a moment, wondering whether to play the game while timing or watch TV at the same time. I chose the latter, but the result was unexpected. As usual, when you press the start level button, a video will appear on the TV screen. In between level tests, you can also enjoy the beautiful background music by Godori. This is really amazing and a little embarrassing. I'm even more surprised because this is the same shirt we wore as kids. After taking the picture, you can click the button to return to the desktop. Later, I lost faith in the stars and I tried to read the time from the hands of the clock. When the hands moved correctly, I complained to myself. The stage design was truly unique. Clocks hung from the ceiling, old books adorned the walls, and everything was done in a harmonious turquoise hue. The music shone brightly as the images projected onto the screen. At the beginning of this chapter, I experienced something unexpected. It was the first enemy I encountered in the game. It seems that all the ships have been strengthened, even the green ships that couldn't sail before can now. That's not entirely a good thing, but it's not entirely a bad thing either. The most interesting thing about this green place is the place itself. 3 things. Blue sand slows down time and adds enemies from previous games to the box. Red sand speeds up time and adds enemies from future games to the box. Green sand speeds up time and adds enemies from the first game. It was a tough time at first. As I said, the game started off slow and I was attacked by 5 soldiers called ancient enemies. I don't know much about the game's history, but these enemies looked like real creatures. The landscape changed. I saw the green clock and encountered the same enemies as before. Since there were 5 enemies, I didn't take any pictures. Eventually I encountered the red clock and new enemies. I thought this game was about 8 pixelated creatures living on Earth for 1,000 years. But upon closer inspection, the setting turns out to be completely different and the tension grows as the game progresses. Some of the enemies they face look like the ones I saw in the book Trojan Horse, while others look like aliens. The next day, only one of the 5 survived. When he appeared, everyone ran away in terror and I had to defend myself from him. He can fly, but his heart is completely paralyzed. He can only attack by shooting lightning from his eyes. However, he is very powerful and has all the qualities of a great leader. After I defeated her, she regained all her strength and abilities, everything I had lost in the war. It was that easy. I thought if Mothra and I were to fight this world alone, we would need all the help we could get. After what is called a temporary difficult period, the next section will be transformed into a storage area for hazardous materials. As you can see, it's dark and nasty here. The lyrics to the song are very sad. When I listen to it, it feels like I'm breathing in toxic smoke and I'm shaking with pain, and when I sing it, it feels like I'm breathing. The enemies look very different. In the image above, you can see a green zombie with a long bird-like face that jumps around the desert and throws things. There is also a tall, small enemy with black skin and spider-like legs. I saw a bear in the middle of the mountain. It was alone, and I looked closely and realized that its tongue was long, as if it had swallowed another bear and taken some kind of medicine. I tried to cause chaos, but then an angry mob appeared and attacked me. Suddenly, a deer jumped and ran into the woods. I was terrified. The bird hit me, but I killed the deer immediately and the deer quickly recovered. The bird was very weak. I started playing right away. Of all the entropy levels, this is probably the most normal, although it is very different from the permanent destruction mechanics of the first game. At the time, I saw various animals such as ants and thorny trees, and I often flew out the window to avoid their attacks. Sometimes I also saw flocks of birds. At the foot of a mountain is a vast emerald green lake. I saw a small ancient creature. It was a large fish with a long neck and a head the size of a fish. The fish fought with its jaws and claws and hit its head, causing it to sink, and then quickly fled to another place. He's harder to defeat than the main enemy in Time Loop, is much stronger, and takes about 3 minutes to defeat. When he dies, he makes a loud noise, then reappears and disappears again. After returning to school, I revisited the stupid van exhibit, which I had already seen not far away. As expected, it had been restored and looked like a winter forest. But unlike a normal forest, I don't feel anything special about the song. I think it's because of the beauty of the song. It's a sweet, calm, and gentle song. It calms me and doesn't scare me like a forest covered in snow. I watched for about 4 minutes. Then something occurred to me. I hadn't seen a single living creature since the beginning of the story. Where were these creatures going? I knew immediately that I was in prison. A new story was beginning. In the second half of the game, I was in a cold forest, but I couldn't hear the music. At first, I was a little skeptical, but then I realized that the problem might be in the game itself. But suddenly, I heard a familiar voice. 12 seconds later, the song Very Cold began. My heart froze as I saw this terrifying scene. The deer lay dead in the snow. Their green antlers were frozen. When I arrived, I saw that some of the bodies were missing. I was scared, but I had to keep going. Before I went on stage, I thought I was seeing something like a prehistoric animal, and that's exactly what I saw. Although it looked alive, its body was entirely white and its nose resembled that of a gorilla. Despite its slow movement, I was glad to see it was still alive. Sadly, its life was short. When he realized that the animal was still alive, several birds flew to the right of the frame. The gorilla suddenly fell down, his hind legs were broken and he no longer had the strength to survive. These winter hunters are different from other winter animals. Although they attack only when hunting or sensing danger, their appearance is terrifying. Unlike other animals that run aimlessly, these hunters attack anything that comes their way. Their cries are clear, loud, and full of rage. As I was walking around the area, I saw two wild animals fighting. Both were injured and one had a serious eye injury. I took some pictures, but I didn't want to know who would win. I could go on with the next part of the series, but this time we are not in a snowy forest, but in a distant place, where a green moon hangs high in the night sky. The first part of winter begins again. Suddenly, fear gripped me. It was hard to believe, but it was true. I had brought this problem into my life. This was the game I was playing. After a while, everyone had dispersed. I reached the sea. The moon disappeared from the sky and began to fall like an egg. As it fell, it landed in the ancient sea, and the moon disappeared completely in its mist. Then there was the sound of the umbrella dropping into the water, and there was a moment of silence. Then as the umbrella rose, something strange appeared in the water. And I saw the moon's test. This picture was taken while I was trying to win the battle. This battle is the hardest battle in the game. This moon is stronger than the previous battle. Even Godzilla is hard to beat and Metra seems invisible. I was clearly lucky because this monster didn't look like a big sword, otherwise I wouldn't have won. When I defeated this monster, I only had 3 life points. However, I cannot confirm whether what happened later is true or not. I tried hard to preserve that memory, but now I feel I have to accept it. Everyone in the sports world knows it was a painful and unforgettable experience, and I think you know that too. I don't want to go through that pain again, so I've decided to let it go. I have a friend at school named Melissa. She suffers from mental illness and schizophrenia. When the fever subsided, he sat up, then stood up. His eyes opened. He began to speak clearly and fluently, then he began to tremble. Sometimes he would cover his face with his hands and remain silent. My feelings cannot be expressed in words, they cannot be explained. To understand them, you must see them with your own eyes. Everything went according to plan. He was a strong man and I loved him very much. Every night we sat in the garden and looked at the stars, but one day he didn't say a word to me and started to tremble when he saw the moon. I tried to talk to him, but he ran into the middle of the road. I tried to stop him, but it was too late. That night, he was hit by a car and died. As the wheel spun around his neck, I saw his eyes. Those eyes haunt me to this day. The game developers should have known this too, as these events occurred after the animals died. The game started on the tablet screen. Suddenly I was sobbing, my hands were shaking, and I couldn't even hold the remote control. I knew this game would be hard for me, but I didn't know if I would reach that level or if I would achieve my goals. I asked myself, can this game read my mind? The chances seem low. However, is there any known information on this? I sincerely feel that this game has a unique charm. It has the power to create an emotional connection with the player. But I can't stop. I don't know if it's because of the game or because of my own decision, but even though I've learned a lot, I want to finish it, especially now that I'm recovering from mental health issues. It was scary, dangerous, but I knew that if I stopped playing, it would stay in my memory forever. Even if I played it again, it would still be the same. How many people would see something like that? And more importantly, how many people would hear about it? Even though everything didn't go according to plan, it meant a lot to me. But I don't want to risk my life. My TV has a remote control, so I can quickly turn it off in an emergency. If the remote control doesn't work, I'll throw it in the trash or run out of the house. The game is over. The game is over. Games are undoubtedly powerful, but they limit the emotional connection you can make with what's on the TV. Yes, that's what hurts me the most, but I can't give them up because I don't know what to do. I took a short break and started the game again. As for the TV, the White Forest Cinema was recently abandoned, but the movie poster still hangs above the TV. The first movie was so good that I watched the second part with interest. I thought it would be almost the same as the first, but the experience of watching it was very different. Samario Joseph. This song is about Neptune. I was born under the sign of Pisces, so I think music suits me very well. I want to understand everything. I like TV shows. I like movies. I want to watch the news before it gets too complicated. But now it's time to climb the stairs. There's a table with gold pillars next to me so I can go to the gold mine. I had my strength and body back. I didn't know how or why, but I was very happy that I hadn't died in an unknown place. Also, it seemed like the image of Mothra in my mind had shrunk to half its original size. The song begins with a sweet and melodious tune, and after a while we hear a woman's voice. This song is very special. There weren't many people on the Golden Circle route. Since I was planning to travel by plane anyway, I was curious how long it would take to travel on a large plane like Godzilla or Angelo's. We noticed something important. When the player moves left, the enemy also moves left and stops in the same place. Since the player can only move right in the game, it is interesting to see if the enemy moves forward or backward when trying to move left. These levels are so difficult that every time you think you finished the game or start over, you'll encounter new obstacles, new enemies, and broken icons. There was a statue in the courtyard with open eyes and a face. That face was there the night Melissa died. Even after she was hit by a car, her face hadn't changed. When I saw her, I felt like someone was watching me from behind the dance floor. I left because I didn't want to think about that night again. At least I wanted to have some memories. I needed to find my way back, but it was difficult. The road conditions were terrible. I think it took me at least 15 minutes to get my bearings. The animal has no teeth. It is unique in this group because unlike the other animals, it cannot swim and can only walk on land. But as soon as I saw it, the bird flew up, picked it up, and flew away. It didn't look back, so I decided to follow it to see where it was taking it. The car stopped in front of a room with a large anthill. The car hit the anthill and the creature was sucked into it. These creatures emerged from a hole in the side of the ship, which, like their bodies, was completely covered in gold. The ship had just left the airport. I don't know what awaits me, but I'm glad they found the right ship. When I returned to the table, I found the host still there. It was a little disappointed, but not too bothered. In fact, it made it easier for me to leave the group. I joined two new groups, Indian Stone and Black Maze. When I first filmed the video for Indigo Stones, only 3 black dots with heads inside them were visible in the video. The mountains are green and blue, the landscape is beautiful, the clouds are majestic, and the changing colors of the moon are fascinating. And the music, if you can call it music, never ends. That was the first time I saw a monster with a big head coming out of a small hole in the ground. The two of them shouted loudly, not looking away as they emerged from the cave and continued their journey together. I had no choice but to follow them. More than 100 animals emerged from the cave. Finally, the path ended at the top of the mountain. As I descended, I was surprised to see many animals jumping towards us. I've seen enemies climb mountains before, but this is the first time I've seen so many NPCs killing each other. Staring at this level is a little disappointing. To continue this discussion, I will not mention some of the animals mentioned here. The beautiful bird flew away, but a larger bird caught it. To me, that bird looked like a giant dragon from the movie Godzilla vs. the Sea Beast. I have overcome many sins, but to my surprise, all these unrighteous things have died. If the game is to work properly, they should be alive. If this character is meaning, it means that one of them is dead. What are you doing here? Maybe the moonlight is too bright. At the end of this table, we see a large animal attacking a group of people and eating them. I felt uneasy, so I had to observe the animal and its prey with my own eyes, so I dug a hole. The angry demon destroyed the other symbols and joined the fight. He had no special skills, but he was a bad guy. However, he couldn't fight me. I need to get on the bus quickly. First, I need to defeat Batra, then I need to defeat Megaron. After that, I'm going to play Black Mass, sit in front of the TV, and fight Mega Godzilla. Finally, I want to face this terrible enemy. I think everything will be different this time. But first, we must defeat Petra. As expected, it all started suddenly. For Warren, the real problem was the music. The story changes with each game as a new Godzilla faces off against a variety of enemies. Despite the limited player base, the game remains fun because the sequel allows players to get a better look at the enemies. The battle begins. As Bertram attracts Goma, the dragon flies left and right, sometimes emitting light from its wings. During the battle, I noticed that Mothra's combat skills had changed. This version is more powerful than the first one, and Godzilla's arms are stronger. Death Dust has also been improved and can now kill enemies when you use it. In the first game, the characters could fly, but they couldn't push enemies back. If they hit the player, they would fall down, which was very annoying, but that has changed. Now it can change direction and run, because old sleepers are just as accurate as younger sleepers, but they are much faster and more powerful. While they may be slow and insect-like, old sleepers are extremely powerful and dangerous enemies. He may not have much punching power, but he seems to have a good eye. Batra has excellent positioning, and so do I, so it will be a very close and tough fight with lots of punches and kicks. It should be a very exciting fight. After defeating Batra, I wanted to see Megaron's power, but first I had to conquer the blue stone level and strengthen myself by defeating other monsters. So Digimon wanted to make music the most important thing in the movie Magellan. This makes sense since the Digimon are Magellan's enemies in the movie currently. He is similar to Maguire, but he is running faster and faster. He is training according to his training plan. I managed to escape, but it was very difficult. After a few minutes, he turned around and dropped some bombs. When they dropped the bombs, they flew very high, so it was very difficult to escape. Finally, lightning struck. It struck right in front of us, so we couldn't see it easily. Overall, I would describe him as a heartless, ambitious, but stupid person. My entropy project is almost complete. Then the house appears on the screen and I have to turn the TV screen upside down to see what it looks like. The results were not satisfactory. Code is the first song in this series and fits this episode perfectly. I don't understand why this phone is so bad. It's worse than the other two. It's getting worse every day. I felt very tired after playing Entropy. It's hard to explain why. I've never felt this way before, but suddenly I felt very tired. Maybe there's a problem with the game, who knows? I call the final phase of autumn the color change. The leaves first turn golden yellow and then black. The music reminds me of the movie The Winter Garden, but with a different and more mysterious sound. I knew from the first note that this scene was going to be difficult. It was as if there had been a break in the cycle. The transition from this bright golden cycle to the dark cycle was abrupt, but maybe that was a good thing. Otherwise, I would have been through it a long time ago. Then the mask turned black. The headache that had been throbbing for several minutes suddenly disappeared. It was dark everywhere, so the city of Meteora was barely visible. I wandered aimlessly, occasionally knocking on the walls. I could hear people running through the streets. I was running when I heard a sound. It was very loud. It was like the loud barking of a dog or the roar of an elephant. Either way, it was incredibly loud. I knew something was wrong, but as soon as I changed the cover, I noticed the situation my subscribers were experiencing. But at that moment, I couldn't see anything, and I didn't know where to go. As night fell, the last group of wild animals attacked me. The rain started to fall on me. I looked helpless. There was only one thought in my head. Don't do this! I ran as fast as I could, but the animals still had half my health. Then dawn broke and their attack stopped. Therefore, the group's goal is clear, to find a solution and end the remaining lives before the fire goes out. He was afraid and was looking for a way out. The lights went out 3 times during the game. If that player with the big eyes hadn't been there, he would have died long ago. As I walked towards the painting, the light changed and I felt as if demons were watching me. For some reason, the painting blocked my path. As I approached the painting, I felt a deep peace, but I had to move forward and find my way. The black maze is shorter than the golden one, so I can walk through it in 6 minutes. But when I reach the end of the road, I will be on many paths leading to hell, and if I fall into it, there will be no way out. If I don't escape before the enemy finds me, death will be the only way out. Fortunately, I am alive. Michael Godzilla is a very powerful leader, but as the battle begins, something unexpected happens. Not only did I recover, although I was in bad shape, but I also fought Godzilla. I didn't see him as a boss. But if you're a true Godzilla fan, you probably know this. Previously, Mechagodzilla fought Godzilla, but his shield was gone and his health was reduced to 3 points. This change happens often during the battle. The fight against Mechagodzilla feels like a fight in an old video game. Unlike previous versions, the first enemy is not very strong, but this is no ordinary enemy. He wears a cape and is very large. So the strategy of shooting his eye is not as effective as before, but it is still scary. But as his life shrank, strange things began to happen. His soul, like the original kingdom of Jizoar, began to decay. In just a few seconds, it shattered into pieces and transformed into new forms. And that's where Godzilla and the robots come in, and I've seen visual flaws in a lot of the game's designs. The human face makes these things more appealing. He is one of the most powerful beings of our time, the embodiment of the power of fire. A bright flame can be seen in the center of the painting. The machine was powerful but slower than before and couldn't fly high. As it approached me, I dodged several poison dust attacks and finally won. I can't get rid of this bad person, it's too hard. I said to myself, enough, enough. The last game is the hardest and longest. Although some of the games are difficult, all of them are easy. Avoid the obstacles and run to the right. This reduces the comfort of the game because we can't see what the door looks like or where it is. Not only do they force you to go back the way you came to regain health, but they also put you at risk of being attacked and killed by red enemies. For the first 30 seconds, the object was invisible, but I knew it was there, and as I continued running, I heard a loud voice. He looks like a bird. He spread his wings like a bat and flew through the air with incredible speed and courage. As I mentioned before, this was the scariest part of the last scene, so I had to stop the movie and focus on what to do next. However, I personally attended the filming of the movie Red Dragon, and it was a truly amazing experience. I couldn't escape because I went in the wrong direction. The red walls of the maze blocked its attack. Yeah, I thought so too. She sinks her teeth into the wall, then opens her mouth and presses it hard against the wall, as if someone wants to eat her from the inside. So with nowhere to go, I might have found a way to escape. The road was long and winding, but I stood up anyway and turned left. Even now, I don't know why I chose that path. Maybe it was just a coincidence. I learned that a lot and had a lot of fun. I don't want this tournament to end. There are only 2 matches left. Then the world ended, and it was called X.